Hey guys, uh, yeah, I'm filming with the camera this time because I refuse to film with my iPad because, well, my iPad's a piece of shit. But yeah, the filming the last video was a complete freaking nightmare because I forgot filming really long videos on the iPad is just literally hell on earth. But yeah, here I am making part 2 to my movie collection, and this is gonna be a kind of fun. But and I will be talking kind of in depth about some of these because I do have a lot of my favorite movies in here. But I'm not gonna talk as long as I did with the Marvel and DC movies that I have because, well, besides the Transformers movies, I don't really. There's not really a handful. There's not that many movies in here that I can geek over as much as I do as the Marvel and DC. So, yeah, let's get started. Okay. I'm going to start out with some of the TV shows that I have, and some of these are incomplete, so I do apologize for that. But for beginners, I do actually have every season of Sons of Anarchy, and I am actually trying to start this series over again. But yeah, it's kind of a weird show to try to binge through. It's like, because it's kind of a upsetting show, so you can't really binge through it as easily as you would something like The Office or hell, even Impractical Jokers, which I actually have the first 4 seasons to. And I'm trying to get the other seasons to this show, but at the moment I'm stuck with the first 4. And probably my most incomplete TV show set right now. I only have 1 season of this, and it's Supernatural. And I can watch this show on Netflix, which is fun, or I mean fine, but I do really want to get this entire show because I actually do really like this show a lot. Which kind of sucks that I only have the 6th season and that's it. And now a show I really do like, and I'm actually really happy I have the full show, is Burn Notice. I have all 7 seasons, and yeah, this is a really cool show. I might try to make a like a actual series review of this, but I'm not 100% sure if I want to yet, because it's kind of a weird show to talk about. Like, weird in the sense that it came out in the early 2000s, and it's kind of weird to defend an early 2000s show without sounding like a complete idiot. But well, here comes a series that I actually I'm not shy about defending it, is the Transformers movies. I have all 5 movies, and I got the 5th one on Blu-ray because it was the only one available at the moment. But usually I get the Blu-ray of the one I like, and if whatever. This isn't a movie review or me talking about movies. I don't want to get into what happened last time and make a really rushed video. But okay, now let's talk about more individual movies rather than the TV shows and Transformers. Oh, I forgot to talk about another show that I happen to have. I don't have it, and I don't have the complete show yet, but I do have the first season of Psych, which is cool. This is a cool show. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend checking it out. It's actually pretty funny. For I don't know when it actually came out, but uh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But here, like, this is one of the few video games I actually like. I don't consider myself the biggest gamer, but I would like, this is one of my favorite video games, and I would play it a lot if the Xbox I had wasn't broken. So actually, I can't play this right now. I'm only keeping it because in hopes that I actually get myself an Xbox in the future. But now we can move on to the more individual movies, and you can kind of see what I have right now. But yeah, I have Pacific Rim, which is really good. Also, I normally, I know, like, you're supposed to do it like when they're in a stack, but I think this is just easier for me. Plus, I don't want to take all these movies out individually and stack them, but whatever. Because I'm a perfectionist, and if I stack them, it's gonna be like a mile long, and it's gonna be in their own series. So I want to be lazy about doing this. But I also have Cowboys and Aliens. I actually have the first Hellboy, and this is a special feature, and because I absolutely adore this movie. And I actually do have the second one. I think it's in the second box. But yeah. And the funny thing is, I actually have 2 copies of the second one, and it's kind of fun story, but I'm not gonna get really into it here. But I also have Taken on Blu-ray. Sorry, there's like a lot of movies I have to get through. I also have Nonstop, Shallows. I also have Jaws. I have the first Deadpool, and I'm working on trying to get the second one. I have Point Break, which is actually one of my favorite movies. And I have the first It, which the title is kind of hard to read, but hopefully you guys can see the title. But yeah, this is actually one of my favorite horror movies that was a huge surprise. I was worried it was going to be the miniseries again. This is actually one of my favorite crime dramas, The Heat. It is a comedy, and it's kind of ridiculous in the fact that it's very over the top and kind of not dumb, but I don't know how to describe it. It's a fun cop movie, and I also have the Bram Stoker's Dracula movie, which is also really good, and which was a huge surprise for me because I wasn't expecting that movie to be very good. Because around the time when I saw it, I kept hearing that it was really one of the best vampire movies, but I was also skeptical because it was based on a book. And yeah, those are rarely ever good. Crap, I keep doing this, but I have another TV show, and I think this is the full set because I don't think this show lasted very long. But I have Witchblade, which I don't know if it says complete series, but I'm skeptical if this is actually the entire show because I don't know. But this is another show that I really want to go watch again because I remember watching it growing up and absolutely adoring it. And I remember watching the first like 10 episodes recently, and I remember really liking it, and I got sidetracked with other things, and then I never ended up continuing it. which sucks because the show actually is really good. But it is another early 2000s show, so it's probably not for everyone. I might do a series review on this when I actually sit down and watch it in its complete entirety, because it is a very interesting show in the sense that the setting that the movie takes place in is very unique. Now, for a trilogy that I absolutely adore is the original Sam Raimi movies. I have all three of them, and I actually have damn it, I have two copies of the third one, and I don't know where the second copy went, but it's the same reasoning for why I have two copies of the second Hellboy movie. And it wasn't by on purpose. It's not like, oh, I love Spider-Man 3, I need to get two copies of it. It's like it was a complete accident. But I also have the first Batman movie, which came out, the first Tim Burton Batman, I should say. I was gonna put this in the Marvel and DC video in part 1, but I know like how long I was gonna talk about the DCEU. I was like, I'm gonna leave the other DC movies out of it. Plus, I left the other Marvel movies out of it. So, whatever. Whatever. But I also have Batman Returns, which people keep saying this movie's way too dark, and I keep referring to them to the first movie. And it's like that one's pretty dark too. But both of them are also like equally kind of ridiculous in the same manner. Speaking of ridiculous, I also have the original Liar Liar. I don't know why I said original, but this is actually one of my favorite comedies. It's actually one of the few comedies that I actually would consider like really, really good. And I say that in the fact that, in my opinion, comedy is my least favorite genre, mainly because it kind of comes across as way too easy, and like they all kind of feel like the same movie over and over again. But I know it sounded kind of mean, but I don't know. It's just I was never a huge fan of comedy, but Liar Liar is one of the few comedies I actually can rewatch on a regular basis. I also have Mars Attacks, which is a very ridiculous movie. It's like really, really ridiculous, but I love every second of this. And I think it's a Tim Burton movie. I'm going to say it's a Tim Burton movie because that's what I remember, and I'm not going to bother trying to double check that at the moment. I also have like a Whose Line Is It Anyway, like uncensored, but it's like, yeah, it's the best of, so there's only like 4 or 5 episodes on this thing, which kind of sucks because I do love this show quite a bit, and the only way I'm able to watch it at all is well, through this and online clips and stuff, which kind of sucks because I remember growing up loving that show, but now I have like no way of actually watching it completely. This is a movie that's technically not mine. It's actually technically my mom's, but I ended up getting hold of it, and I ended up accidentally keeping it. But I also have Enchanted, and it's actually one of the few like newer Disney movies, or at least a few live action ones that came out like after the early 2000s that I actually really like. And it's not technically a remake. It's more like a kind of like a spoof of like classic Disney movies, and that's kind of why I love it. I was gonna throw this into the TV show list, but since I only have like the one, it doesn't really matter. But I also have like the early 2000s TMNT, the Ninja Turtles show, but I only have like 3 episodes, and I have no idea which season this is from, or even where it even fits in, because it's weird. Like Splinter's on the front, but in all 3 episodes, Splinter doesn't even make an appearance like at all. He's like missing in these 3 episodes. So I highly doubt this is the first season, but yeah, I'm kind of running out of time, but it's like I have like 5 minutes left on the SD card. But this is actually a horror movie that I actually really like, and it's Ginger Snaps. This is it's kind of a strange one because it's kind of like a neat spin on werewolves, and it's actually one of the only like werewolf movies I actually really like, and like that like actually I think it's actually one of the few ones. And I'm not talking about like movies that have werewolves in it. I mean like it's a straight up werewolf movie, and yeah, I probably shouldn't be getting too much into it, but I better get this out of the way. Because if I keep stacking it there, it's gonna block everything. Oh yeah, here's the movie I was talking about. I have the Hellboy 2. I also have Ted, and obviously it's the unrated one. I don't think I have Ted 2, but I know, this is another comedy that I actually really like and would consider really good. Same with this one. This is another comedy I really like. This is one I pop in every now and again and have a good laugh at. Oh boy, here comes the box sets, which are gonna be kind of awkward holding, but yeah, I have the entire Indiana Jones trilogy as well as some bonus material, and yeah, I will be talking about these movies at some point because I actually really do like them a lot, and they're a huge part of my childhood. I'll go more into it like when I actually talk about the movies. I also have the Star Wars trilogy. I have no idea if these are edited or not, but it's kind of similar to the Indiana Jones where I have the trilogy and some bonus material. Yeah, it's like I don't really need to make too much of an introduction. This is just Star Wars, the original trilogy. Oh, there it is. I was almost going to show you the sequel first. Yeah, I have X-Men 1.5, which is just the first one, but with some extra stuff in it. And excuse the box, it's falling apart, but yeah, I mentioned this in the first video that this is actually the movie that got me into Marvel. Even though I saw Spider-Man first, it was actually X-Men that got me into superheroes in general. Spider-Man just got me into Spider-Man. And yeah, and I also have X-Men 2. And when it comes to like X-Men movies, I think these are the only two I actually own. Yeah, I'm almost I have like 2 minutes left, so sorry if the rest of this is really rushed, but I also have the complete like all the Bourne movies, and I don't have Bourne Legacy because I'm one of those assholes who thinks that it doesn't count. But I also have Rise of the Guardians, which is actually one of the few like that I don't know how to describe it. I really like it. Here comes a movie I grew up with, and it's a '90s movie, but it's entertaining. Sandlot, and if you haven't seen The Sandlot, then your parents must hate you. But I also have The Lost Boys, which is one of the few vampire movies that actually got me into vampires, or I think this was actually the first vampire movie I ever saw, and it was actually the one that got me into. It was one of the first movies that got me into horror movies, and I also got Zombieland, which actually speaking of Zombieland, I'm actually really excited for Zombieland Double Tap, which is coming out I think the end of this year or the beginning of next year. And hopefully the last image on here is the Power Rangers movie. And I don't know when I got this. I know I got it recently. I just don't know when I actually got it. But yeah, I'm going to go change my SD card so I can finish this video.